The name Sankofa really resonated with me because I was born the year of the youth uprising, which was 1976. So I was born during apartheid. I was born with no freedom. And Ghana at the time really represented the pinnacle of African excellence and African hope. And I always dreamt of going to Ghana. So when I was like much younger, in my 20s, I found these icons. They're called Adinkra signs. And one of them was a bird that's looking backwards, and it was called Sankofa. And I was really interested in this idea of looking backwards. You know, it's always been in my work. I called it that because of the idea of reclamation, anyway, which is what the album is about. Reclaiming identities, reclaiming lost things, lost childhoods. Yeah, I called it that for that reason, because I love Ghana and because of the idea that's encompassed in the word. In order for us to reclaim ourselves and our freedoms, our identities, we have to be fed up. We have to be sick of what's in front of us. We have to be done with the trauma, done with whatever it is that's in between, standing between us and our greatness. Through this album, really, I was kind of like, you know what, I'm done. I'm done crying about my mother's death. I'm done crying about things that happened to me when I was a kid, you know? I think you just kind of have to be fed up. You have to be sick of it. That's the only way you can change anything. Especially like now, because we're going into the elections, people have to think about that. They have to think about what are they really sick of, and then go and vote for whatever fixes that.
If you could describe the journey of creating this album in one word, what would that word be?
One word, I would say, what would be the one word? I think it's just another word for journey. It would be odyssey. Just because it was really long and there were a lot of like obstacles in between like starting the process and finishing it, you know. It wasn't an easy process, you know. So now that I'm here, it looks easy, but it was arduous, you know. Yeah. I think that's a good word for it, arduous, but joyful in the end. The way that I decided who to collaborate with it was pretty simple. I chose people that I really loved. It was like, do I love you? Not necessarily, I mean, I love their work and I think they're great musicians. But as people, like I really love Nduduzo as a person. He's one of my dearest friends. He's a brother for me, and I've been working with him for a very long time. And Tendai Shoko, a young bass player from Zimbabwe who, you know, had done a lot of interesting things, but this was kind of the first time that I was going to immerse him into my world. And it's really just because I liked him. And Michelle Ndengechelo, I've known Michelle for about 17 years, and so we've always wanted to work together. And through some kind of serendipity, it worked out that this moment was the right one for us to work together. So I worked with Michelle Ndengechelo with the New York sessions, and then when I had Joburg sessions, I worked with Nduduzo Makhathini or I worked with Tendai Shoko. And then when we went to West Africa, to Dakar, Senegal, I took Nduduzo with me and we worked with musicians from Senegal. So there's a long list of musicians that played on the album. And really it's like a stellar list of Black instrumentalists, Black inventors, Black ingenuity, Black geniuses on the album. What do you mean? What am I listening to? I was listening to nothing. I was listening to my ideas, because the ideas start off with a small thing, you know, maybe like a sample and a bass line, and then one day we add a guitar line. So for as long as I've just got a sample and a bass line, that's all I'm listening to, trying to figure out what's the next thing that we could layer onto that. So yeah, for about 3 years, that's all I did. I just listened to my own stuff. And that's why really, once the album is done, I'm really sick of it. So like people get surprised when I go to a place like a bar or something and they play my song and I'm like, please turn it off. Because really by the time I give it away, I really am giving it away. And I don't want to see that baby again. It's like, Amba, go and do your job and don't come home until you're done. So yeah. The message I'm sending with this album is that we are it. We are the it, and we have to walk around the world like that. Whether you're from Malawi, Zambia, Mozambique, wherever you're from, whether you're from Congo, you're from Tanzania, you're from Sudan, wherever you're from, as an African, we have to walk in that spirit of knowing that we are it. I know that it's difficult because sometimes it looks like other people's version of blackness might be cooler than ours. Like, for instance, we're always looking to African Americans, for instance, and we think that's like the coolest version of black there is. But really, we have to remember that we are at the center of that. Every time any black person anywhere in the world expresses themselves, they know that at the core of that is the motherland, and we are here on the motherland, and we should be proud of who we are and carry that legacy forward. That's the thing. I'm just like, guys, we're amazing, we're magical. Look at what we can create, look at the music we can make, look at the worlds we can envision. So it's really about how inventive we are and how great we are. And so there's also this intersection where it's like we have to heal our wounds, whatever those are, so that we're able to really step into our greatness, because as an African person, there's so many ways that you can think you are inadequate, or you have to first do something like this in order to be acceptable, that you can't be fully in your Africanness. It's just a celebration of us. That's what the message and the sound is. Even though it's not very fast-paced music, it is pensive and meditative, and we still rehearse to this day. We still rehearse Nizala Ngobani as much as we would rehearse any song from Sankofa. We are still rehearsing the old songs because it's about always trying to be excellent. If you come to our show, without a doubt, this will be one of the best shows you've ever seen in your life. We just promise that we're going to give it our all. We always do. We always have. That's why we're the best band in the land. We hope that there is some kind of magic in the room, because I'm not just doing this. I'm also doing it so that I can shift paradigms, so that when you leave the room, you feel lighter about your world and you feel a sense of possibility about your future.